benefit from this and also learning and practicing and growing. So let's start with a review of last week. And what we saw last week was consciousness. And we understood what is consciousness, awareness, subconsciousness, super consciousness, which is creating elevated thoughts, and how can I change or shift my consciousness. So one of the things that we visited last week was um, emerging the innocence of a 1-year-old or a newborn baby. And we saw that was our homework practice, moving around with the consciousness of a 1-year-old. And you can write in the chat if you did practice, what experiences did you have? Was there any experience, or did it make you feel different, respond differently? It's a very liberating feeling actually when I move around with the consciousness of a 1-year-old. It's purity. It's emerging my purity. So let's begin with a little meditation. And just so that everyone knows, Hindi में translation हो रहा है. So those joining on Zoom, there is translation in Hindi. So you can go to interpretation and choose Hindi, and you can mute original audio. So let's bring our awareness into this present moment. Let's take a few minutes. Stabilizing my conscious mind. I create a thought that I am a peaceful being. I let the feelings emerge. I observe my feelings. As I create this thought, I am peace. I'm an angel of peace. I'm an angel of happiness. When I am peaceful, my surrounding is peaceful. I feel peace radiating into every cell of this body. Every cell in this body is peaceful. Every cell of my body is happy. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. How does this make you feel? Every cell in this body is peaceful. Every cell in this body is happy. Oh. Yes. This reminds me of one of our sisters in Washington, D.C. And she had created this lovely song. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. And she would keep singing this song, and just tapping on the body. Every little cell on this body is happy. Every little cell in this body is peace. Feels so good, feels so well. So she would tap, giving love to the body, giving love to all the cells. So, what happens with this is the soul is creating the thought. Every thought has a feeling. And now I'm consciously transmitting that thought and transmitting that feeling to every cell in this body. We all have heard this, that as is our, whatever we think, we become that. Whatever we think, we start feeling that, right? Sometimes people have said that, oh, don't think this way and it will happen. So our thoughts have so much power. Whatever I think, I become. Whatever I think, it happens. So, because why? Thoughts are energy. When I create thoughts of doubt, that's what is going to my body, to every cell. And one of the thoughts are the most powerful tools that we all have. So today I wanted to, talk about, someone sent me a message, and I thought, let's talk about needs and wants. If I ask you to write down what all do you want in life? What do you want in life? Will there be a long list for it? Because we want so many things, right? Our wants are never satisfied. No? Think about when we were children, right? We wanted good grades. We wanted to grow up and become a doctor, engineer, lawyer, so on. We wanted to buy a house. We wanted to drive this car. We wanted to have children, we wanted to be happy, we wanted peace, we wanted good vacations, we wanted money, no? We wanted comfort. So when we make a list of all our wants, it's never ending. Do you think our wants can ever end? Actually, they don't. And now, if we look at what do we need, the list of our needs, and that list is really small. So one of the things that, I keep checking and asking myself, and I do share it with others as well, that when you go to buy something, check, do I want this or do I need it? Needs versus wants. Very, very important. When our list of wants, when I'm looking at my list of wants and when I'm operating from a place of want, I will never be content. I'll never be happy. But when I'm operating from a place of, do I need it at this moment? Sometimes when there's a sale, we we look, oh, there's a sale. Let me just get it because I don't know if I'll get it cheaper. Will I get it at this rate? So let me just buy. And we buy and we keep it for a future use. And sometimes we don't end up using it at all. So one of the practice is, before buying, take a pause and ask, do I really need this now? Can this wait? And if we see that in today's times, what do we really need? What do we really need? Do you want to write in the chat? What do we really need? You can write in the chat box, what do we really need? So we need love, we need peace, we need happiness, we need good, healthy relationships. Right? What else do we need? We need comfort. We need someone who can comfort me. Mm. So when we look at wants versus needs, we have to look at our needs and operate from a need perspective. It's not that we stop living or we stop enjoying. You do that, but I'm not operating from a want perspective. One more way to look at this is that when I am looking at my list of wants, what's happening is I start seeing my life from a perspective of deficit. Wants meaning I want because I don't have it. And I start looking at my life from a deficit perspective. And I'm looking at all these physical, limited things to fill that deficiency. And we know that all this physical will never be able to fill that deficiency. That is something else. So, looking at my life from a third perspective view and feeling that really, do I really want this? Or I really have enough? Do I really have enough? So one of the practices that that we encourage is make a list of all the attainments that you have, all the attainments that you have in your life, starting from childhood, wherever, how far your memory can go. Make a list of all the attainments and see, you'll feel so full. One of the things about 3 years ago, in 2021, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And, it was just a fluke by which I was diagnosed. I was having actually, I had breathing difficulties. So I went to my cardiologist thinking that it's something related to the heart. He told me he did all the tests and everything was fine. And then he said, go for a the CT scan of the heart. And I was like, okay. But then I saw that the insurance for some reason was not covering it. And I just didn't want to spend the money. So I postponed it for like 2 months. I had gone to India. I came back. And then, Brother Karthik told me, did you get your heart CT scan? And I said, no. And he's like, no, just go. Just go and get it done. So I went, I got the CT scan done. And what came up in the scan was they saw a lump. And I immediately got a call um, telling them, they told me that they saw something and I should see um, uh, an oncologist. So I went and they did all the tests, the biopsies and everything. If it came out positive, I had the cancer. And they said it was a second grade cancer. And then the date of the surgery was decided. And then the doctor explained to me very clearly that if this is, if once we do the surgery, we'll take out the lump and then the lump goes for, another series of tests, and from that we'll come to know whether you need, whether it was spread to the nodes, and whether you need chemo or not. And everything was perfectly fine. This I was okay. I had accepted it because, you know with all this practice of spirituality, I was perfectly fine. I had good family support, the spiritual family. My sister was visiting me, and my mother was with me, and I was very well. So on 29th of July, I think it was 29th of July, I had the surgery. And on 30th July morning, I was sitting in the class. We have a 1 hour class every morning. And I was in the class as if nothing even happened. And everyone was like, we don't even come to know that, you went through this big surgery. I was like, yeah, because I feel fine. 4 days later, it was my sister's birthday, and I was actually baking a cake for her. Nothing happened. Everything was fine. Then my test results came, and they said the cancer had spread to the nodes. And once it spreads to the nodes, that means then it can spread to other parts of the body. And when they said it spread to the nodes and now chemo, I said, okay. So I went to the hospital to see my oncologist, and he explained to me about the chemo, and he said we should start immediately and all of that. And in my mind, I said, okay, I was ready for it. And then when I was leaving the hospital, this was in northwestern Chicago. There's also the Children's Hospital, I think, very adjacent to this hospital. And I saw this little girl on a wheelchair. She was coming out of the chemo. I think she just finished her chemo. She was on a wheelchair, so weak, and she had the ports and everything. And I saw at her, and I realized at that moment that, Sonia, look at this girl. She can handle it. Why can't you? And at that moment, I said, yes, I'll go for it. But to go to Chicago from the suburbs was 1 hour. And they said I had to come like a couple of times a week and all. And that was a little far. So then I decided to do it at a hospital closer to where I lived. And there was a Northwestern in Lake Forest. So I went there. Um, Again, getting an appointment with Dr. Saras, who's I think he's the head of the hospital in Lake Forest, and he was my oncologist. And I don't know how I even got his appointment. I just called him, and I got the appointment for just 2 days. And when I went and saw, they were like surprised. How did I even get the appointment? Because he was pretty full. And when I met him, going with this, that yes, we will start the chemo and I'm ready. And just out of the blue, he said, let's do this new test. It's called onco. It tests whether your onco score is high or low. He said, let's do this test and we'll get a better idea how the chemo will work on the cancer. I said, okay. So he did the onco score, and my score came on the borderline. And it was decided that he said, it's up to you now. You're on borderline exactly 15. He said, do you want to do chemo? And I said, is there an option? And he said, we can go for another option. I said, okay, let's go for that. So the point that I'm trying to make is that when I am ready inside, when I tell myself these elevated thoughts that anything is possible, I am victorious, I can deal with this. There are so many people in the world who go through worse than what I go through. Then I start seeing my life problems as really small. I don't make a big deal out of it. I start making everything small. And if you look at, you know, the world or everybody, people start making their things bigger as if it's the end of the world, as if it's, this is it, nothing beyond this. My life is gone, right? I will die if this happens to me. So we use such harsh words, not even understanding that, there are people who are going through so much worse. So, really feeling comforted in what we have in life is so important. Looking at our loved ones, how do I treat them? People with whom I live. Am I taking my relationships for granted? Do I value and cherish people in my life? All this is so important. We are so busy with our jobs, with creating a certain kind of a lifestyle, you know, growth, career growth, financial growth. We have stopped living life. We have stopped being who we are. Very important. We have become, human doings rather than human beings. I have forgotten how to be. One of the things that nowadays there's a lot going on about leaders, right? What is leadership? And what is the biggest definition of leadership? Leadership is being, not just doing. So when you look at any leader, they are living from a place of truth. They are living from a place of being, not just busy doing. And we are doing so much in life, and that doing also involves taking care of people around me, providing for them, running to do the groceries, so much, right? We have so many things to do, cleaning the house, right? So many things to do. And we are so trapped in doing that I forget the being who I truly am. you know? So I've been thinking a lot about dementia and Alzheimer's. So, my master's thesis was on Alzheimer's disease. And the reason I came to the US for my PhD was to do my research on Alzheimer's. I don't know why, but I was just very much interested in Alzheimer's. And, when we look at Alzheimer's or when we look at dementia is, the stage, and Alzheimer's causes dementia. But there are other, diseases too that causes dementia. So when we look at, say, dementia, right, where the person just forgets, and we know the chemical, we know the chemistry, we know that, okay, it's, in the brain there are these plaques that are formed, and all this is happening, the neurons are not firing, right? There's a miscommunication, so many different things that the person is not able to remember. And when I came into spirituality, I don't know why, but I always felt that is dementia a blessing in disguise? And it is much recently that I started to understand dementia more and more. And we see that dementia mostly happens in, you know, people after the age of 60, 70. And I have seen people around me getting dementia. And many a times, we immediately, when we see an elderly forgetting something, and like, oh, do they have dementia? And sometimes we feel that, it's also like, it's like it's something that's, being so scared of. Like, people are scared of, I don't want to be in this place. When they look at people with dementia, and the first thought is, I don't want to be in this place, I just hope I'm not in this place. Or these thoughts of, you know mercy, or, oh, look at them, they are going through this, and why are they going through this? And I was just thinking, because this weekend, um Sister Geeta in Washington, D.C., who actually was very much instrumental in bringing me into spirituality, and sustaining me on this spiritual path. She is diagnosed with dementia. And I remember one time in Peace Village, she looked at me and she asked me, "Who are you?" And for 1 second, I was shocked. "You forgot me? You really don't remember me?" And she looked at me, and I thought she was joking. I really thought she was joking. I said, "No, Sister Geeta, how can you forget me? Don't you remember me?" And then she told me something. "Why are you telling this again and again? Just tell me your name." And I just paused, like, "Sister Geeta, this is Sonia." "Oh, Sonia, hello." And then Om Shanti. And that got me thinking, because I never expected that she'll say, "Who are you?" But then when she said, "Why are you repeating the same thing? Just tell me who you are." And I was thinking that how many times we do this, right? When someone very close to us is forgetting something, how many times we keep on repeating the same thing, that, "Oh, they are forgetting. Oh, they are forgetting. They are forgetting a lot. They are forgetting a lot." We keep repeating this to them. We keep repeating this to I myself, and we keep repeating this to others. And each time we are telling them, you're forgetting this, you're forgetting this. How does that make them feel? Because think about it, the identity of the person, when we keep saying that you are forgetting this, you are forgetting this, it's creating fear in them, that I am forgetting, so I am going to forget to even live, or I will be forgotten. And what happens in the process? They just they forget. So what is actually happening, touching on consciousness, is that the soul is in the body. They are operating from their subconscious and not conscious. So the consciousness is actually sleeping. The soul is pretty much there, but they are operating from their subconsciousness more. So you will see that many a times with people in dementia, they get their you will see their old behavior or patterns, their old habits emerging suddenly. No? The reason is, if I have not worked on these old patterns or habits, they will come out, because now I'm operating from my subconscious. And one of the big things, and something that one more thing that I have observed, is couple of things. One is, if I'm not in the present, if I'm not in the present, I'm always in the past, thinking about the past. My subconsciousness is filled with past. And then slowly, I even start being in the present. And slowly, our consciousness shifts into being more and more in past. There's another, there was a research that was done by, there was a research that was done, and there were about 200 nuns. They were all in one room. They used to live together. And out of the 200, about 50 of them got dementia. So there was this research that why did they get the dementia? No, they are leading a very nurses are lead the nuns are leading the surrendered life dedicated to God. No, but why did they even get the dementia? So they went back into, so when they are becoming nuns, they have to write a letter of surrender. So they either do a confession or they write a letter as to why they want to become nun, why they want to dedicate their life to God or to godly service and all of that. So they went back to reading those letters, and something very interesting was observed in those letters. So the letters of all the 50 of them who actually got dementia had actually the same pattern of difficulty of forgiving, the same pattern of, you know, feeling of hopelessness in the world, in the self, a pattern of being less creative, right? Like it comes from this feeling of hopelessness, so less creativity. And it was a very typical trend that was noticed. And that's why I think one of the biggest practices in spirituality is forgiveness and being in the present. When I am in the present and I'm not in the past, I'm not thinking about what this one did wrong to me, this one behaved this way to me, this one was bad to me, and I will be the same. I am operating from a place of not forgiving, a place of unhappiness, sometimes even from a place of hopelessness. And this is very low energy, very low energy. So we have to start operating from a high energy. And when I look at Sister Geeta, and I have been thinking that why? Because Sister Geeta loves God. She dances with God. The only word that emerges from her mouth is Baba, who, God for us, we call Baba as Father. And why did Sister Geeta get dementia? And the only answer is that she lived a very tragic past. She was orphaned at a very young age with two sisters to take care of, and she had foster parents who used to beat them, and she ran away. So she has a very tragic past. And I think somewhere inside, she was reliving that past. It's not easy to let go. It's not easy to forgive. And I think somewhere that little past was there. And I feel, you know, the consciousness just shuts to the present. And you are in this zone. You're somewhere else. So, it's not easy to serve someone who has dementia, someone who we love, having to see them go through this. But also, they need compassion. They need a lot of love, acceptance, and compassion. We can't just put them aside that, oh, they can't mingle with us. You know, they don't remember their identity that we think them to be, but they are operating from a different identity, which is of many births, which is from the subconscious identity or the sanskars of many births. And today, actually 2 days back, Sister Geeta is in the hospital, and we thought that we have lost her, but she's she bounced back. But seeing her, the doctors, nurses, everybody in the hospital are just feeling so blessed to be around her. Because even though she doesn't remember who she is, she's operating from the subconsciousness of having love for God. So I just wanted to, I came across poem, this poem, and I just wanted to share with you. And I thought that this is so, this must be something that people with dementia think. So I'm just going to share my screen for you to. Do you see this? So it says, who am I? Who am I? This or the other? Am I one person today and tomorrow another? Am I both at once? A hypocrite before others and before myself, a contemptibly woebegone weakling? Or is something within me still like a beaten army, fleeing in disorder from victory already achieved? Who am I? They mock me, these lonely questions of mine. Whoever I am, thou knowest, God, I am thine. So, whoever I am, God doesn't forget me. you know. I always belong to God. So, if I always think about this, who am I? Who do I belong to? What is my purpose here? Right? When I answer these questions, we are at peace. And whatever our part is, right? But we live with that peace and happiness, looking at the needs, not operating from my wants, because that list will only bring unrest. So let's look at our life, look at everything we have, look at the good things, look at the bad things, forgive people, don't hold on grudges, and be in the present. Look at the present. Whatever struggles I did in the past, I have reached this present moment, this present life, with whatever struggles I went through, whatever happened. Don't live with regrets of the past. Think about the abundance that the present is offering me. So, this week's homework is this: being in the present, operating from what I truly need and not wants, and being in the present of the abundance and the attainments that I have, and forgive. Can we practice this? Show me a thumbs up if we can. Yes. So let's end with meditation. So we'll practice forgiveness in today's meditation. So sit comfortably, and I remind myself of who am I? I'm God's child. God's beloved child. I think about all the people in my life, in this birth, who have hurt me, caused me sorrow and pain. I understand that they are also children of God and just playing their part, probably even unaware of what they were doing. I choose to forgive them. I break all the threads of sorrow and pain that I have been holding for a very long time. I bless them that may you be connected to God. I also think about all the souls in my previous lifetimes with whom I have had some strong, severe karmic accounts. By being empowered by God and God's energy, I choose to forgive all of them. I forgive you. My present is with God. My present is making me knowledgeful. My present is creating my beautiful future. I choose to live in the present. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. So remember your homework, being in the present, keep practicing forgiveness. It's like a prescription 2 times a day. You can, practice this for 21 days and see how liberated you feel. Mm. Forgiveness, it does wonders. So practice forgiveness, try being more and more in the present, and operate from a place of attainments, abundance, and not lacking. And also, wants versus need. Need is not feeling that needy. Needs is of the soul, wants is of the body, right? And that's why the wants are like there could be lists of wants. Um, but need is something that the soul needs, the soul operates from. So needs again is not feeling that, oh, I'm needy, but it's talking, the difference is soul and the body. So soul consciousness and body consciousness. So wants derive from the tree of body consciousness that we spoke about, and needs is soul consciousness, what the soul needs. And that need can only be fulfilled through meditation, or by stabilizing in my self respect. Okay, so have a great evening and text me if you want to, um, if you want any topics to be covered, feel free to text me and we can explore that together. Until we meet next Wednesday, Om Shanti. Have a great week. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you, Dee.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.